Hi guys, the Middle Maniac back again. In this video, I'm going to be listing off my top 5 favorite horror films from the 90s. I was going to do a top 10, but I soon I soon realized, like, wait, I haven't seen a lot of horror films from the 90s. I've seen tons from the 80s and before, but the 90s, I don't know, I just don't really I haven't really seen many from the 90s. So instead of, just really, I mean, I've seen a few, but instead of, like, going back and figuring out what I have, every horror film I've seen from the 90s, I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna do a top 5 because it's just easier. Um, anyway, with that, let's begin. My number 5 is Predator 2, a very, very underrated horror movie sequel. The only Predator movie that everyone hates for some reason. I don't understand why. It's not a bad film at all. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's really, really good. Danny Glover's really awesome, and now, of course, he's no Arnold Schwarzenegger, but still, um, it's a really, really great sequel. It even sets up the idea of a Alien versus Predator film. Yeah, just a really, really great film. I don't understand why people hate it, but yeah, number 5 is Predator 2. Um, all right, number 4 is Army of Darkness. The third in the Evil Dead franchise. Yeah, I know this is a lot more fantasy adventure slash action than horror, but it has enough horror elements to make it a horror film. But yeah, just really awesome. Probably my favorite rendition of the character of Ash Williams. He's fully fledged Ash Williams at this point. Um, my only gripe, a really stupid gripe, but a gripe I do have, a small gripe, is he doesn't have the chainsaw hand throughout majority of the film. Instead, he has a mechanical hand, which doesn't look as cool. But really, that's really my only gripe with the film. Everything else is really, really cool. I love the artwork as well. But yeah, awesome, awesome movie. All right, number 3. Number 3 is Sleepy Hollow. This was 1999, so this was at the end of the 90s. Of course, starring Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane, Christina Ricci as I always forget the character's name. Um, anyway, starring as whatever character this is, I for some reason can never remember the character's name. Anyway, and of course, you have the best Christopher Walken performance ever. Right there. And then, yeah, I mean, I love that Tim Burton in this film paid tribute to the Hammer horror movies. One look, for someone who is a fan of the Hammer horror films, which I am, even though I don't own any of them. Unfortunately, I just never got around to getting any of the films. I have seen quite a few of them, though. But for someone who's a fan of the Hammer horror films, one look at this film, and you notice that just the overall atmosphere, the overall design of everything, and the color shading they use in this film is all tribute to the Hammer horror films from the 60s and 70s. But yeah, it's just a really, really good film. Alright, number 2 is the Brendan Fraser Mummy film, the first one from 1999. So yeah, Sleepy Hollow in this film came out the same year. Yeah, I mean, the original Mummy from 1932 is way better, but this one is sort of a nostalgic one for me because this is the first ever Mummy film I ever watched. It's just, oh, yeah, the disc doesn't stay in very well. I have to probably get it. I'm planning. Yeah, this one's very trash. I'm planning to get the Blu-ray set of all 3 Mummy films. Just haven't got around to getting it yet. But anyway, just a really, really great movie. Yeah, people say the CGI hasn't aged that well. Yeah, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was made to. I think it was just made to be good for when it was released, not like overall. This movie knows it's goofy at times. This movie knows it's cheesy at times. Like, the director knew that he didn't, like, he wanted to make something that could take itself, it was goofy, but could take itself seriously enough to where, like, it made sense, to where it wasn't completely off the rails. And then, of course, I mean, people complain about the CGI in this film. Some CGI actually looks pretty good still, while other CGI in the film doesn't look that good. The CGI for, like, Imhotep's face in the sand, on the ground and with the sandstorm, yeah, is pretty bad nowadays. Looks pretty terrible. But the CGI for the mummified Imhotep himself still looks pretty good. I don't know why people complain about that as well. It still looks pretty good. Yeah, but just a really, really fun film. Not really I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't know how well it did back then, but it's still a really, really good film. I do have a lot of nostalgia for it. But yeah, that's at number 2. All right, my favorite horror film from the 90's, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Still to this day, my favorite Dracula film. Gary Oldman's performance as Dracula is absolutely awesome. Yes, I even prefer the Gary Oldman performance of Dracula over the Christopher Lee one. Even though Christopher Lee's performance as Dracula is awesome, he's my second favorite movie Dracula. But of course, to me, no one will ever play Dracula as well as Gary Oldman. A really great story. Francis Ford Coppola really took the book and just made it into an amazing film. Yeah, some stuff, little stuff, not really much. He didn't change a lot of stuff. He just added. He didn't change things. He just added a few things. But for the most part, stayed faithful to the novel. But yeah, I mean, everything's perfect about this film. The cinematography, the set design, the costume design, the acting. Maybe except for what's his name? The guy, the guy who now does John Wick films. What's his name again? If I could find it. Keanu Reeves, there we go. Yeah, Keanu Reeves' acting is, I mean, it's not bad. It's not terrible like most people make it out to be. It's decent. It's decent. Like, for the most, like, I didn't even notice, like, I didn't even really, like, for the most part, for a long time, I thought his acting was really good. Then when people started pointing out his acting was so terrible, so I went back, sorry, kind of messed up there, but when I heard people say his acting was terrible, I went back and watched it, really paid attention to his acting, and honestly, it's still not that bad. I mean, yeah, his accent's sort of, not very, like, legitimately accurate, but, I mean, for the most part, he does a pretty good job. And of course, yeah, I mean, come on, the music, the score of this film is phenomenal. Like, very operatic, very dramatic, very just fits this film perfectly. I really want to own the soundtrack on CD. But yeah. So, that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.